episode of Get Sharp. I am Joe Fortenbaugh. Week 1 in the NFL is just about in the books, but we still have a big Monday night doubleheader that takes place tonight, starting with New England at Miami, followed up by an AFC West showdown with the Denver Broncos hosting the Oakland Raiders. I'm at what's quickly becoming one of my favorite spots here in Las Vegas, the Red Rock Resort and Casino, and I'm joined by my man VegasRunner from pregame.com, who's here to help us break down all the action. Ace, first of all, thanks for coming on.
Told you this is a great spot here.
You know what? You were absolutely right. I have loved it ever since I've been here 5 times already. I've only been here 10 days.
Great
so, obviously a great place to hang out, right by where we live. Let's start with New England at Miami. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, opens New England minus 446. Currently New England minus 7 or 7.5, minus 46. A lot of public money, obviously, on the Patriots. Is there any reason tonight why we shouldn't be thinking, let's get on the Patriots?
It's all Patriots public money, and the sharper books do not want to get off that 7. Instead, they're increasing the big. They're going to make you lay minus 120, minus 130, and then finally get off it because of the fact they got middled by a couple games this past weekend. They got hurt with Tennessee, which opened +3. They got hurt when Arizona went to 7. Some of the square shops that went to 7.5 got hurt. Exactly. So the sharper books do not want to come off 7 because they know the wise guys are going to try to get the best of the number. What I can tell you is this. Not too many betting syndicates, no sharps that I know of, and I'm not saying I know every sharp bettor on the planet, but I know enough out here in Vegas, and I don't know any that got on New England to force this line movement. This is all public money that's forced to move on New England. It's just been coming in, and you saw the move, half-point increments. It wasn't no big bang. Even over that dead numbers of 5, 5.5, books were hesitant to get up that high and leave themselves open. With that said, I think now over 7.5, the 7 that it is, the 7.5, I think the value's with the home team, to be honest with you. I think this is based on nothing more than public perception. Miami got blown out by this team last year in both games.
And a primetime game too.
Exactly, but even though Miami went 7-1 at home straight up last year, they were only a dog one time. And that was to the Steelers. They were a 3-point dog, and they lost that game by 1 point.
Some controversy too.
Exactly. So this is a team that has not been in the underdog role a lot at home. And when you look at the head coach, Soprano, call him what you will, he's done great in the underdog role. You don't want to be laying points with Miami, but as long as they're getting points, he's 19-11. As a dog when Sperano has Miami getting points.
And the underdog in this series, 5-2 against the spread in the last 7 games, so that speaks well. So what you're basically saying is we can't find any sharp bettors anywhere that we know that love New England, but we know the public is steaming New England all the way up.
And they're going to keep betting them. Yeah. This number isn't high enough because a recreational bettor says he likes New England. The number is irrelevant. Obviously, they want the best number they could get, but whether if the line is 6 or 7, they're still going to take New England. That's exactly what they're doing. The sharps would never take New England in this spot, knowing they could have got 4 months back. You know, now they're taking the worst of it, and in this case, that's exactly what you're doing with New England. Not saying they can't cover this number, but what I am saying is that you're taking the worst of it above 7 now, and if you get in the habit of doing that, you're not going to turn a profit.
You're going to lose in the long run. Second game of the night that'll quickly follow this one up out in Denver, a good old-fashioned AFC West showdown as the Broncos play host to the Oakland Raiders. Game opens as a pick, 41.5. Currently Denver minus 3, 41.5. This is an interesting situation. 2 new head coaches. Hugh Jackson takes over in Oakland. John Fox takes over in Denver. Last year, here's an interesting number for you. Actually, the last 5 games in Denver between these 2 teams, Oakland has covered the spread. 5-0 in the last 5. Oakland 7-0 against the spread in their last 7 against the AFC West. They had a great season last year against their division. Jason Campbell's a quarterback. What do you expect in this one? Is there any value in the line now with Denver at 3?
I think the value on this game, again, is on the dog. This line opened 1, and it's now up to 3. And once again, that's public money that's moved this line. And the reason this line moved is based on the most unimportant thing in all of football, the preseason. You got to throw the preseason away. But the Raiders went 0-4 straight up, 0-4 against the spread. Denver did okay going 2-2. But what you can't forget is this. Denver had a quarterback situation where you had two guys, and you could throw in Brady Quinn to the mix, that were vying for the job going into the final week of the season. You had a new coach who wasn't from the organization, so even though Oakland has Hugh Jackson, they're hiring from within. The transition isn't going to be as great as it is for Denver. So you had John Fox come over. He wants to win. He's got 3 quarterbacks battling in preseason. No wonder they did better. I think this is based on nothing more than perception. We know in the NFL, home teams win almost 60% of the time. The opposite is held true in this series. The road team is 6-4 in the last 10. I really think we're looking at another inflated number. This is saying that on a neutral field, Denver and Oakland is a coin toss. It's a pickup. I don't think so. I really believe Oakland is the better team right now than Denver.
Last question before we wrap it up. Is there any chance, with these two both being primetime games following each other up, that somehow this number, Oakland and Denver, gets affected by what happens in the earlier game? If people would lose on New England, could they suddenly start chasing in the night?
Absolutely. It's the bailout game. And last night, the bailout game was the New York Jets. Jets kept getting so much money. Books were afraid to go to 7. They were afraid the Sharps may jump in and take it. But even at 6 minus 120, 125, no Sharp was willing to take Dallas. So they were one-sided by public and the Sharps on the New York Jets. Fortunately for the books, Jets only won by 3, or else they would have got crushed with that game. No game bigger than Monday night game. It's the one that you double up on to get even, or you let it ride on when you're ahead. Let's tell it like it is. And in this case, what's going to happen is you're going to see a ton of money on New England. You're going to see a ton of teasers tied into New England. You're going to see a ton of parlays tied in with New England. If New England covers, it won't make the second game as important for the players. They'll probably already have action on Denver, but it will be important for the books, who will be having their whole week on the line with the Denver game. That's what happens. More books will tell you that their entire week comes down to 1 or 2 games. And more times than not, it's the Sunday night game or the Monday night game, or both. And in this case, the public's all over both favorites, and they're going to bet both overs. After seeing what happened yesterday, wise guys and odds makers thought the new kickoff rules was going to affect the totals to the under. We saw 14, I believe, of the opening numbers move downwards. Only 2 games, I think, went off at a higher total than what it opened at. So the Sharps thought the kickoff rule would favor the under. Books agreed, put out low totals.
They got hit, didn't they?
They got hit because the public bets overs. That's what they're doing today. So the books are definitely going to need some dogs to bark, and they're going to need some low-scoring games.
VegasRunner from pregame.com. You can check him out there. We'll have all that information in the article. Also check him out on Twitter. There's a ton of great info from him there at VegasRunner. VR, thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you coming on. Good luck in the games tonight, everybody.
Cash some tickets.